Hey, what's happening, everyone? It's me, the man, the myth, the mustache, Tim here. And have I got a brand new video for you? I am in a good mood today. Welcome to part 13 of What If Deku Had Full Counter. Please sit back and relax, cause you're in for a treat. Skippity-dee-da, let's get this show on the way. Woo! Enji swung by the Midoriya residence to take Izuku and Shoto to the mall so they could get things for the summer training camp. The cousins were hanging out with some classmates as they shopped. It was a nice change of pace from the usual chaos and training. Were you able to talk to your dad about what happened? No, not really. He apologized for the mess and for making everyone worry. I think he just needs some time. It was smart of Uncle Enji to confiscate all the alcohol in the house. I'm pretty sure Uncle Hizashi would disagree. By the way, did you ever make heads or tails of his conspiracy board? Midoriya went quiet with a tense expression. He dragged Todoroki away from the others to a somewhat secluded part of the mall. Based on his cousin's demeanor, this was gonna be heavy. Okay, so I was only able to interpret a small portion of my dad's drunken scrawling. It looks like he collected evidence that the Nomu are made from the bodies and quirks of missing people, and that one of them is my mother. But, as I said, his evidence is shaky at best. Like, the similarities between quirks and Yitsuma knowing my mom's family song. Is it possible that it's a common quirk and that song is commonly known? Fuyumi told me that your mom would sing her lullaby to her and my brothers when they were little. The quirk thing I agree with. From what I've gathered, the song has great personal significance. It was a lullaby passed from parent to child and sung at weddings when the newlyweds danced together. My grandma told me that the song is closely kept to family members. Todoroki nodded, somewhat understanding. Silence fell between the boys. The gears in Shoto's head began to turn as Izuku's expression became distant. There are some crazy quirks out there. Is it possible that there's one that can raise the dead? Do you want to find out the hard way? Shigaraki had a hand around Izuku's throat, keeping a single finger up. So much for a peaceful day at the mall. The crusty villain took his captive audience to chat. He asked the UA students what everyone's obsession was with the hero killer. Even after all this time, people were still idolizing the assassin. Shoto wasn't sure how to answer. He was too concerned about Izuku, who looked ready to deck Shigaraki. Consequences be damned. Wasn't Stain on your side? That assassin was never on my side, kid. The young villain gritted his teeth as his grip tightened around Izuku's neck, making Todoroki flinch. Despite the rage coursing through him, Midoriya looked at Shoto fearfully. The half-and-half teen's eyes reminded his cousin to stay calm. Maybe it's because Stain had a clear goal? He wanted heroes to be more like All Might, so he killed those he considered unworthy to make a change, while challenging others to become better. None of them moved as the silence became nerve-wracking. A twisted smile lingered on Shigaraki's face. Midoriya noticed the hand on his neck loosened its grip. There you guys are! The extras were wondering where you two ran off to. Bakugo saw the situation and glared daggers at Shigaraki. The blonde rushed in to attack. Todoroki intervened, covering the floor with ice. Bakugo slipped as the villain made his leave, the twisted smile still present. The police were called in, and interviews were taken. Izuku told his dad what happened, albeit hesitantly. Hizashi would have found out the news sooner or later. The fire breather tried to stay calm since his son wasn't hurt. But Izuku could see smoke seeping from Hizashi's mouth. The older man left the room to make a call. I'm sorry, Midoriya, but we cannot allow you to join the training camp even if you were to help with training, Nezu said. Well, is there any chance I could know the approximate location of the camp? Hizashi asked. I cannot disclose the location without endangering the students. I'm sure you understand. I understand. I'll trust your judgment. Thank you for your time, Principal Nezu. Not a problem. However, I'd like to inform you that we removed the tracking device from your son's phone. We didn't want to take the chance that the League was somehow utilizing it. Oh. Okay, cool. Student safety is important after all. Bye. Hizashi hung up before chucking his phone, the device getting stuck into the wall. Dinner was unusually quiet. Izuku could see his dad was upset as he angrily stabbed at his food with his chopsticks. Because of the thing at the mall, I wasn't able to get deodorant. I'll need to get some tomorrow before... You're not going. Wait, what? You're not going to the training camp. I don't know where it is, and I'm not allowed to join you. That's unfair! It's a mandatory trip! I can't not go! I don't care. The League was able to capture you in public. Imagine the horrible things that could happen in the middle of who knows where. It's undisclosed, so the League won't find it. And I've been getting stronger. You've seen what I'm capable of. Imagine what I'll be capable of after the camp. You shouldn't have to train so hard. You're just a kid. You should be living life. But I want to be a hero, like you! Hisashi slammed his hands on the table as he shot from his chair. Damn it, Izuku! I never wanted you to be a hero in the first place! Rage consumed Hisashi's entire being, crumbling into horror and shame. Izuku was shell-shocked, tears spilling from his eyes. Izuku, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean... Izuku! The teen ran to his room. Hisashi followed, but was stopped by the locked door. There was no attempt to force his way inside. Izuku heard the front door open and close. He couldn't believe his father actually said that. He knew Hisashi was scared of Izuku getting seriously hurt, but never did the young man think that his dad regretted letting him pursue heroism. Pulling out his phone, Izuku called the one adult that truly believed in him. How are you, young Midoriya?
Hi, Mr. Yagi.
My boy, what happened? Izuku explained the best he could. Yagi confronted the young man. And where's Hisashi now?
I'm not sure. He left a while ago. If it's not too much trouble, could you look for him? The last time he left like this, the police got involved.
The skeletal man had a couple of ideas about where his friend went. Hisashi was a sentimental and emotional man. Yagi learned this quickly, so he knew he had to go to Dagobah. He did find his friend at the beach. Molten sand pooled around the fire breather's feet, his back facing inland. You did a number on this place. Hisashi glared at Yagi, smoke wisps dancing from his mouth. Young Midoriya told me what happened. Do you want to tell me your side of the story?
Why bother? I was heartless and cruel, just like Nensho and Seiba.
Avoiding the cooling glass, Yagi approached Hisashi. There's nothing heartless for wanting to protect him. Let's go. Izuku's worried. Hisashi swung at Yagi. Toshinori backed away from his conflicted friend as he deftly stepped around the molten glass. It was easy to dodge the attacks Hisashi threw as turmoil consumed him. Now that he could see his friend's face, Toshinori noticed blood dribbling from Hisashi's mouth. Hisashi, stop! You've overused your quirk and... The roundhouse kick missed Yagi by a mile. Hisashi kept fighting, throwing haymakers that would never land. I told him I never wanted him to be a hero. I exposed the darkest part of myself to him in a blind rage. I scared him to tears, and he fled from me. I embodied Azulon's hatred, and that horrifies me. I became the very thing I swore to defy. Toshinori caught Hisashi's left hook and right jab. Yagi kept eye contact with Hisashi before spinning him around and restraining the young man against his chest. Hisashi fought against the skeletal man's grip, but his body had no strength left. Flames failed to ignite, thick splatters of blood flying through the air in its stead. You need to calm down, Hisashi. You're burning yourself out. Stop fighting me and breathe. Just breathe, please. Hisashi began to relax. The blonde's words were finally reaching him. The fire breather started to take in his surroundings. There was the sound of the ocean crashing against the shore and the smell of salt in the air. He could feel the rise and fall of Yagi's chest and his heartbeat against his back. The once raging inferno burning within Hisashi's chest was smothered into sorrowful embers. Yagi noticed how ragged Hisashi's breathing sounded.
My parents abandoned and disowned me because they cared more about their drug running. My uncle hated me because I couldn't conform to his will. I never wanted to become that to Izuku. I didn't want him to hate me. I would love for him to look up to me as he does to you, but I'd be fine if he simply didn't hate me.
Yagi listened to Hisashi lament. The Spitfire clearly needed someone safe to talk to. Toshinori would do what he could to help relieve Hisashi of the weight on his shoulders. The two men returned to the Midoriya residence. Izuku was already asleep, so Yagi quietly carried Hisashi to his room. He tucked the seemingly sleeping man in and started to leave. A desperate hand grabbed onto Yagi's, startling the older man. "Please, Nori, stay." This video is sponsored by Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that change the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for faster graphics, editing, and digital art as a whole. At We the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry-standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now. And thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. Morning came, and Izuku awoke to the smell of breakfast cooking. The young man meandered out, seeing something unexpected. Did he spend the night or something?
Oh, good morning, young Midoriya. Did you sleep well? Good, I guess.
Izuku sat at the table while Yagi cooked. Dragging footfalls approached. Hisashi had pulled himself from his bed sometime later. The older Midoriya took his seat at the table before laying his head down. Only the sizzling of bacon and eggs filled the space.
Breakfast is served with chamomile tea.
Hisashi propped himself up to sip his tea while Izuku ate. There wasn't an ounce of eye contact between father and son. The silence made Yagi uneasy.
Are you excited for camp, young Midoriya?
Dad doesn't want me to go.
Is that so?
Yagi gave Hisashi the side-eye. The silent fire breather meeting the gaze for only a second. He knew what the older man was implying, and Yagi didn't have to say a word. This was the first time Hisashi looked at his son since last night. The older Midoriya tapped his neck, a signal that his voice was shot, before signing to Izuku. Unbeknownst to Midoriyas, Yagi understood sign language. I'm sorry for everything I said. You didn't deserve it. My first thought was when you told me you wanted to be a hero was terror, fear of losing you. I'd probably be retired by the time you'd become a pro and be unable to protect you if things go south. I wasn't able to save your mother, and it petrifies me that there might come a day that I'm left powerless to save you. With all these recent events, I became apprehensive. I don't have the right to call myself a hero if I can't keep my family safe. Hisashi clasped his hands together, once more avoiding meeting his son's gaze. Izuku thought things over before signing. I never knew your honest thoughts on my dream to become a hero. It hurts me, but I also see where you're coming from. At least in part. I don't think I can forgive you, but I can accept your apology. Overwhelming emotions welled in Hisashi's chest. He nodded to Izuku and signed, "Thank you." Breakfast concluded in neutral silence. Yagi took Izuku to the school for the training camp. Izuku was surprised to see 1B was going too, but one student was missing. Because Mineta had the brilliant idea to hide in the girls' locker room, he's having a private training camp with Hound Dog. Taking his place will be Hitoshi Shinzo from Class 1C. If Shinzo impresses me, he'll be transferred to 1A, Aizawa said. But what about Mineta? Kaminari asked. Aizawa didn't answer. Shinzo looked physically stronger since the last time Midoriya saw him. Izuku recalled overhearing All Might mention to his dad about personally training a general studies student. But of all people, Why would he pick Shinzo?
Quit staring, fox boy. Are you ever gonna stop calling me that? No, I don't think I will.
Just getting to the camp itself was hell. They only made it halfway there by bus before being thrown into the Beast's Forests by 2 wild pussycat members. It took the 1A students, plus Shinzo, until evening to get to the actual campsite. Everyone was worn out from the hike and quirk overuse. The students were told to get some sleep because tomorrow would be even worse. It was incredible! Midoriya didn't know that he could get so mad. He was so angry, in fact, that he actively wanted to get in a fight. It didn't matter with who. Midoriya just wanted to throw hands. However, he had to remain calm and maintain his breathing. His foxfire-induced anger was an obvious problem that had to be worked on. Tiger had ordered Midoriya to face his anger head-on through meditation. Jade flames danced on Izuku's hands and his hair as he sat full lotus. Training ended when the sun began to set. The students were told to make their dinner, which horrified a few. While everyone got to work, unfriendly eyes watched from the shadows. Spinner and Magni had been watching the camp all day. Once they saw that there wouldn't be any more to assess for a while, they disappeared. Days 2 and 3 started earlier than the first. Students of 1A and 1B were pushing their quirk to the limit. While Midoriya was taking a water break, he briefly watched his peers train. He understood their quirks reasonably well at this point, and could understand the reasoning behind their exercises, except for Shinzo. The amount of physical training when the Insomniac's quirk was vocal-based seemed excessive. It made sense for Shinzo to train with a support item, like Aizawa's scarf, but everything else seemed out of place. And the strange purple energy that seemed embedded in Shinzo's skin didn't go unnoticed either. Despite the exhaustion, a test of courage was set up for all students to participate. Sero, Kaminari, Ashido, and Monoma, who had all failed their final exams, were taking extra lessons with Vlad King and Aizawa.
This is a waste of time. I'd rather sleep.
It could be worse. You could be in the extra lessons, Ojiro said.
Fair point. This could be at least a little amusing, Shinzo said.
Elsewhere.
All right. Go do your jobs and don't die. Twice, you're with me. Dabi growled.
The vanguard scattered to their positions. The scarred villain and the Deadpool doppelganger made their way through the forest to execute their plan. So, Dabi, why isn't Mom with us on the mission? Her quirks would be so useful, and Mommy's so strong, she can wrap me in her arms anytime. Ow!
Show Yitsuma some respect. She's physically weak compared to her quirks. One wrong step, and we'd lose her for good. And Shigaraki and Kurogiri would lose their shit.
You don't call her Mom? Everyone else ever does so, ever since Toga and Magnus started calling her that.
She's not my mom. Simple as that.
Blue flames consumed the forest. Thick black smoke rose as another unknown gas stayed among the trees. Students were in a panic, coping with the impending threat by hiding or trying to protect their peers. Midoriya ran to Kota's hideout. He followed the young boy the other night to make sure he ate. No one else knew where Kota went, if a villain got to him.
You're dragging your feet, Fox Boy.
What are you doing here?
Aizawa and All Might mentioned how stupidly reckless you can be. I assumed you were going villain hunting.
That boy Mandalay was looking for after has a hidden base on the cliffside. We're gonna get him back to the main building.
I'll back you up, if worst comes to worst. I might get to take these new powers for a spin.
A massive man towered over the child. Kota was horrified to see the villain who killed his parents leering at him. A manic smile adorned Muscular's face. He was about to stomp the child, but a pair of red shoes struck the back of the villain's head. Shinzo followed up Midoriya's improvised attack with a 5% full cowling attack, purple lightning glowing under his skin. Midoriya grabbed the boy and got him away from the fight. The jade-eyed teen reached for his phone to call for help, but he found it shattered a few feet away. Shinzo was thrown by the villain. Midoriya caught the Insomniac before he flew off the edge. My phone's smashed. Can you call for help?
Can't. Mine's dead.
How fitting, cause that's what you three will be when I'm done with you. But before I kill you, You two wouldn't happen to know where I can find Katsuki Bakugo, huh?
Fear coursed through the UA students. They had to tell Mandalay so she could use her quirk to tell everyone. With massive muscle fibers covering his body, Muscular threw a punch at the UA students. Midoriya countered the attack, hurling himself and the villain several feet apart. Shinzo ran in, throwing haymakers and heavy kicks at 8% full cowling. The blows weren't even bruising the villain, but Shinzo knew that he'd be useless if he went beyond his limit and broke his bones. Izuku analyzed the fight, waiting for an opening. They had to protect Kota, but they couldn't run away without neutralizing the villain. A heavy crash returned Izuku's attention to the fight. Shinzo was smashed into the cliffside. A massive crater formed where he landed. The Insomniac was winded as Muscular approached him. Kitsune markings and foxfire glowed brightly as Midoriya ran into battle. He countered Muscular away, sharp pain hitting all of his joints. He helped Shinzo to his feet, who was starting to get his breath back.
Get the kid out. I'll take care of the homicidal beefcake.
Hell no! It'll take both of us to—
I will use my quirk on you if I have to, Fox Boy. Now go!
Shinzo's eyes glowed with electric purple energy. Both intimidated and infuriated, Midoriya grabbed Kota and counter-jumped away.
You're either brave or incredibly stupid to think you can face me all on your own.
What? You're scared I'll beat you?
No way!
Muscular's eyes turned white as his body went slack. I'm glad that worked. I did not want to break myself fighting you. Before I send you on your way, Wagyu man, remember what your trigger is. You're arrested. Understood?
Yes.
Good. Now, go to wherever you're supposed to be. And just like that, Muscular headed for the rendezvous point. The entire time Midoriya ran, he was worried for Shinzo. The green-haired teen destroyed the Insomniac during the sports festival. There's no way he could have improved so much in such a short amount of time to face such a strong villain. Blue flames caught the young man's eye. He stopped for a moment before meeting the gaze of piercing blue eyes. Dabi had stared at the UA student, a torrent of confusion and horror consuming his heart. The last time he saw the freckled boy was the night he got his first scars. Dabi started approaching Midoriya, causing the younger man to run off. The scarred villain felt his heartache. Shoji wondered if this what it felt like to be in a horror movie. Despite their vigilance, Shoji and Tokoyami were jumped by Moonfish, a creepy villain with an equally creepy teeth quirk. Moonfish managed to cut off one of Shoji's dupli arms. Tokoyami saw the bloodied limb, and Dark Shadow lost it. Now, the demonic night beast was lashing out at anything that made a sound. Dark Shadow almost killed Midoriya when he ran through. He updated Shoji on the situation. Thankfully, Mandalay's telepathic announcement had reached everyone. Now, the two UA students had to deal with Dark Shadow. Tokoyami was struggling to get his quirk under control, but the night beast wouldn't listen. They had to neutralize it with some light, and Midoriya knew the perfect quirks that could do it. It was a good thing they weren't too far away. Shoji and Midoriya had maneuvered Dark Shadow to Bakugo and Todoroki. The light of their quirks allowed Tokoyami to regain control. The group of boys also ran into Uraraka and Tsuyu. The two girls had just run away from another League member, a blood-obsessed blonde. Now together, the group planned to take the long way to get out of the forest and return to the main building, all while protecting Bakugo. Everything was going well despite the lingering worry for their fellow students. Something felt off in the back of Midoriya's mind, and he turned around. To everyone's horror, Bakugo was gone, and there was no sign of Todoroki. Mr. Compress appeared with a flourish, announcing he had taken their friends. Foxfire was thrown at Mr. Compress as Tokoyami unleashed Dark Shadow. Mr. Compress dodged the attacks as he hid his pocket-sized prisoners within his coat and made his grand escape. It looked like he was gonna make a clean getaway.
What do you mean you don't remember?
Dabi yelled out.
Exactly that! One minute I'm gonna kill the purple-haired freak, and the next I'm here!
Muscular freaked out. Mom's gonna be mad at you. You too, Toga! Twice said. No way! I was able to get blood from at least one person. Mom will be proud of me all the same.
Can it, all of you. Magni, Spinner, and the Nomu are being extracted as we speak. Moonfish is knocked out somewhere, and Kurogiri can't find him. All we can do is wait for Compress. Hopefully he'll have completed his task.
My ears are burning. Are you talking about me, Dobby?
Finally. Did you get the target?
Indeed I did, along with someone else. A monstrous dark shadow rampaged towards the quarry. Inside of the maw of the night beast was Tokiyami, with Izuku and Shoji hanging on for dear life. The fox boy and the duply armed teen jumped from Dark Shadow and attacked Compress. Toga helped Compress by playing with Midoriya, leaving the magician to handle Shoji alone. Dabi fought Dark Shadow with Muscular and Twice, backing him up. The scuffle was short-lived, as brilliant blue flames took down the Dark Shadow. The Raven teen retreated towards his classmates. There was a short standoff as both sides glared at each other.
We've wasted enough time. We're leaving.
Panic overcame the UA students as warp gates appeared. Shoji was especially horrified. He was only able to grab one marble from the magician. The other villains went through their designated gates, while Compress and Dabi hung back. Compress pulled out the remaining marble he had. With a snap of his fingers, a confused Bakugo appeared beside Shoji, while Todoroki appeared in Compress's grasp. Izuku immediately started running towards his cousin. Compress threw Shoto through the warp gate and followed. Dabi stood motionless, feeling remorse. He only dove into his warp gate to avoid Midoriya's wrath. Angry, tear-filled cries rose within the black smoke from the dying blue embers. Despite the warm summer breeze, the night felt cold. This was going to be hard to explain to Enji and Hisashi. And that's our video for today, so thank you all for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it! Now there's a few little bit of housekeeping I want to go over before the video is over. First, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered! That's right! Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake animes with an amazing twist. Check out more if you're interested. There's one of me doing one where there's Deku as an AFO fan. That one is good, so check it out, please. I also did one where Deku had hockey, so that one's also good. That was a great one. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I want to thank everyone who was involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details are also in the description. Please, I cannot stress this, give some love to the writer and the audio editor and the video editor because they do all the magic. I'm just the meat puppet that speaks the words I'm given. Finally, if you like what we do here with the Celestials, then I want to extend an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat though, you must be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. But that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And before I go, I usually say be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome, but I legitimately do mean it. Like, be kind to yourselves. Don't make yourself get exhausted because you want to please other people. Take time to enjoy who you are. Really, you are your first priority. Do not think that everybody else is greater than you are. You are greater for yourself, okay? And then be kind to others because you really don't know what people are doing in their lives, what's going on. They could be going through some really dark stuff, and they may just sometimes want someone to talk to just so that way they can be heard. There's nothing wrong with stopping and just having some kindness towards others. So as I say, be kind to yourselves because you all deserve a break sometimes, and be kind to others because you never know what someone's going through. And as always, stay awesome because I know everybody who watches these videos is awesome. You are fantastic people. But this has been Tim. Mustache out.